Good morning. Welcome to Let's Get Growing Facebook Live. We are having a little walk around the greenhouse this morning, looking at what is coming along. The greenhouse is very, very full right now. It's a little jumbled. The cold weather, we're still trying to find every square inch we can find. But we're going to look at a few things that are starting to look good and starting to come along. We're only a couple of weeks away from really the big part of the gardening season, so we're going to take a look at just a few things in the greenhouse that are doing really, really well at the moment and starting to show signs of looking awesome. First thing here, the mocha tuberous begonias, mocha white, the wonderful dark foliage, and the gorgeous white rose type flowers. This one we've had before. This is Fragrant Falls Peach, a beautiful trailing tuberous begonia with wonderful fragrant flowers. There's also a yellow this year that takes that pinkiness out of it. So there's two colors there. And we've got this one this year. This is Sweet Spice Apple Blossom. That flower just fell off, but looks like it's going to be a really nice one. And again, wonderful fragrance. What else is looking good in the garden? Oh, this is a pretty cool plant. This is something you don't see very often. This is a really neat tropical plant. This is a Pereskia. And a Pereskia is a very primitive form of cactus that has never lost its leaves. They're just coming into bloom, and they're always spectacular when they bloom. But let me lift one out of here, and I'm going to show you why you can tell that it is still a cactus. Because look at those big black spines underneath the leaves. So they have true spines like a cactus, but never lost their leaves. And they'll bloom all summer with these wonderful big pink flower clusters. A really cool plant. There's another form of it that's right here. This is called Godseffiana, and it's got wonderful gold foliage and that coppery new tip. It's a really neat plant. Outdoors for the summer, indoors for the winter. More of our begonias that are coming along. Richmondensis there. We've got some of the wonderful gold leaf canary wings with that brilliant red flower on the gold leaf, which is pretty stunning. Lots of color here in the epomias. But this is a neat plant that I'm going to show you real quick. You've all seen these little euphorbias for years now. Diamond frost and things like that. This is one that we found as a sport in our greenhouse a number of years ago. And I've got a few that I'm going to sell this year. I've never sold any before. But it has bright gold foliage, just like the Margarita epomia. You can see that there. Sometimes with the variegation of the little green splotch in the middle. So that's kind of a cool plant. Probably that's about the 12 plants in the world, short of our stock plant. So that's kind of cool and fun. Here's another neat one. This is the variegated shrimp plant. Amazing foliage variegation. And then those really cool shrimp-looking flowers. There's one on a smaller one there. Such a neat plant. You can grow that as a container plant for the summer outdoors or right in as a house plant as well. Lots of stuff coming along. Some of our colocasias. This is Pharaoh's Mask. A fairly new introduction, but boy, what a stunner this thing is. Look at those big black veins on that glossy leaf. It's really outstanding. We grow these right in the water in containers with no drainage holes in them, or put them right in the pond. And they get to be huge in one season. It's amazing to see how fast the colocasias can grow. As we shoot down here, some of our stock plants. This is a neat one we found last summer on our travels. This is Pavonia. Don't have any for sale this year. but it's just pretty much a non-stop blooming tropical shrub. So we're going to work on that propagation wise. Would be a great outdoor one like a hibiscus for the summer, and then indoors for the winter. Oh, here we are getting down into some of our impatiens. This is one of the Sun Patient series, one of my favorite ones. Tropical white. It's a beautiful large white flower. The leaves have that yellow splotch in the center, which is a really wonderful contrast. I love to mix those into full sun containers. They grow quite large. If you've ever grown a Sun Patient, now not a New Guinea impatiens or a sunshine impatiens, but the actual Sun Patients, they get really big. So they work great in big containers. They'd be great in the ground. They love the sun, and they're really amazing. And this one, and there's a pink one as well that has that similar leaf pattern. There it is. There's a touch of the flower anyway. They're both very cool. And then this guy here, this is one of my favorite impatiens. This is a real old heirloom variety that's kind of been around for a while. Comes and goes. You might see it in somebody's collection. It's Impatiens walleriana, so the old Busy Lizzie type impatiens. Makes quite a big shrub, though. You can get these up to about 2 feet tall and 2 feet wide. Great little hot pink flowers on that white edged foliage. Great plant for shady containers. There's our stock baskets there. We just keep lopping cuttings off these things, and you can see just how floriferous they are. The great combo for the shade. As we shoot down here, the Tradescantias or Roeos. This is Moses in the cradle, but I love to use these as fillers in shady containers, especially this one here. This is Sitara Gold. Wonderful gold leaf, green stripes, and then purple on the reverse. Really, really showy plant. Quite amazing. Oh, Rosalind's got a question. Can I plant my poppy seeds outside now, or is it too cool? No, get them out in the garden. This is just perfect time. As soon as it starts to warm up a little bit, they will germinate. So go right ahead. A few other goodies. More colocages waiting to... That's our stock plants, actually, some of our colocages. They'll go outside into the pond for the summer. As we shoot over here, let's see what we've got. I wanted to mention these guys here because they don't look like much yet. This is a proven winter grass. It's called Vertigo. There's also a series of these called sort of like the royalties, like Pennisetum Princess, First Night, and there's quite a few different ones. These are all Pennisetum, so not purple fountain grass with the purple leaves and the pink plumes. This is Pennisetum purpureum, sometimes called elephant grass. And these are going to make a 5 to 6 foot tall clump. I think people ignore these at this time of the year in garden centers because they don't look too spectacular, because they've got a lot of green in the leaf. But look out for these, because as soon as the sun warms up and hits these things, the plants turn black, and they are the most cool ornamental grass you can grow, especially in containers, because they'll get 5 to 6 feet tall with wide black foliage. Really outstanding. They just don't look the part early in the season, so keep an eye on those. This is the proven winter variety called Vertigo. As we shoot down, we've got some lemongrass. I love the lemongrass. Great fragrance. Use it in cooking. Fireworks, the variegated purple fountain grass, is a fun one. You can use it in a lot of different combinations. Gets the pink plumes, just like purple fountain grass. Sophie's having trouble getting her Mina lobata to germinate. That happens sometimes. I certainly have had trouble with it in the past, but I'll let you know maybe next week if we get any germination. We've just sown them, so. Some of our young alströmerias, we talked about these a little while back. We'll look at another one again in a couple of minutes. We've got great kangaroo paws coming along. We're already starting. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. You can see these, why they call these kangaroo paws. The little flowers look like little kangaroo toes. Cute as anything. One of my favorite plants for containers, Carex buchanii. I love these bronze New Zealand sedges. They're just so amazing. I don't know why things turn bronze like that in New Zealand, but I'm glad they do because they're great container plants. Buchanii, which is an upright one, gets about 2 feet tall, 2.5 feet tall. And then this one here, this is Carex flagellifera toffee twist. Absolutely outstanding. They're just starting to really show off their copperiness now. They will turn like the color of the buchanii as the summer goes on. So interesting. Oh, Barb tried to start the alströmerias from bare root. Very, very difficult. They are not the easiest plant to grow. And I have tried bare root from wholesale suppliers in the past and have very little success. If you can get a growing plant, so much the better. So watch garden centers. There are some varieties that are out there as growing plants. Get those. Some of them are hardy. I have overwintered some here in Uxbridge, and I know in the GTA people can overwinter them, depending on the variety that you get. So have a look around at your garden centers this spring. What else have we got? Little baby fuchsias, Gomphrena still coming along. Now here's our tomato crop. So we are April the 30th. These tomatoes were sown on April the 6th and April the 7th. So you can see the size. I'll put my hand there just to give you the size idea. This is exactly where we want them at this stage, because if we get some sun this week, these will probably triple in size. So we really don't want them to be too big just yet. They're getting a good first set of leaves on them. They're rooting out well. They're coming along quite nicely. Now, somebody just mentioned somewhere, oh, Paula just mentioned about planting tomatoes on an angle. And yeah, we sort of do that. Often we'll plant, these are still a little bit short to show you, but you know, we will sometimes take a tomato. Well, we always take a tomato like this. So you can see it's just not got much there. The seed leaves are there. It's growing its first set. By the time we're going to plant this in the garden, it's going to have at least 1 or 2 more sets of leaves on top of that. And we'll either dig a little trench, lay the plant down in the trench and just bend the tip up, or we'll dig a deep hole and bury the plant 3/4 of the way in the ground. That helps build up a good strong root system, and you'll have better plants further into the year for sure. So our tomatoes are right on schedule. Some of them still look pretty small. This one here, Orange Hat, is a micro mini, so it should be small. It'll probably only get about 12 inches tall the whole year and give us little cherry tomatoes continuously. This is a plant that I love. We've been growing it for many, many, many years. It's Persicaria Red Dragon. Really is a wonderful foliage plant. We mix this into containers, put it in pots singly in a group of pot scapings. It's almost winter hardy, but not quite. So we keep it indoors for the winter, and it just, you know, is a great combination plant for containers. Persicaria Red Dragon. Barb's got a question about her tomatoes growing both determinate and indeterminate. Should either be pinched when young. You know what? We never pinch our tomatoes. you can. I saw an interesting video that somebody did that actually took their tomatoes at this stage, pinched them, and then got double growth coming out of the seed leaves. So they do this because they grow their tomatoes on a trellis, so they want a wide sort of a trellis shape. Interesting thought. We've never done it. We generally don't prune our tomatoes at all unless we're growing them in very close quarters. And then we'll pull off the side suckers and things to keep them growing straight. But normally we don't prune our tomatoes at all. So there's all kinds of neat stuff. I'm going to switch over to the table here now. And then Laura's going to take over the camera. We're going to talk about a couple of other things that I just gathered together here to quickly discuss as we are here. All right, let me just make sure my chair is nice and dry. There's one of the alströmerias I was talking about. This is Katrina. Wonderful variegated foliage. And they're all in bloom right now in the greenhouse. Really, really stunning flowers. So look for some of these guys. As I said, if you get them as a growing plant, they're really easy. If you try to buy bare root roots, almost impossible. The roots are dug, they're very fragile, they don't like to be kept dry. You know, it's easy to keep a hosta as a bare root plant. And you can buy bare root hostas, you know, from anybody, and they're going to be fine. Alströmeria is very, very different. We actually have no problem taking these plants at the end of late in the season and dividing them. But then we're dividing the root system with some growing points on it, and then repotting and growing right away. We're not drying them out. So I think that's the trick with alströmerias. Also, they're an interesting plant because what looks like it is a stem that should be able to root from cuttings, they don't. You cannot take cuttings of alströmerias. You've got to divide the root or grow them from seed.
Barb is looking forward to your talk at the Pickering Garden Club about new and cool plants.
You're getting a preview today a little bit. Yeah, right. That's next week, I think, actually, Pickering Garden Club, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll have some of this new stuff available. I'm going to bring some plants to sell, so we'll have some new plants available. Centaurea gymnocarpa, Colchester white, much like a Dusty Miller on steroids, really. Makes this wonderful mound of very ferny silver foliage. Just an outstanding plant. If you follow a lot of U.S. magazines and things and U.S. designers and stuff, they'll use this. I don't know if anybody else even grows this in Canada, but it really is an outstanding plant for that silver accent in the garden and in containers especially. Looks great with things like the salvias and stuff. And, well, I've got them right in my face of tender salvias on the market today. This big pink guy here, this is Wendy's Wish, and one of its more diminutive cousins, this is Love and Wishes, with the deep sort of, I don't even know what color that is. Is that a deep, I don't even know. But these are some of the best tender salvias you will get. There are two more in this, which is a hot coral pink, and then there's Kisses and Wishes, which is a nice light pink. But these things you can see already, young plants, full bloom. They start blooming in May and they continue until frost knocks them down. Really, really outstanding plants to use as bedding in the ground or to use as containers. Now, you have to watch. Wendy's Wish is quite a big grower, so it can need a fairly large container. The other varieties are all a little bit smaller, but you still get these big flowers, dark calyxes. So even when they're not have a flower open, the calyxes are beautiful. Quite bushy habit. And of course, with a shape like that, if you want hummingbirds in your garden all summer, the Wishes series of salvias are top notch. Probably some of the best tender annuals that have been released in the last decade or so, for sure. Really, really outstanding. Full sun, like all salvias are, but easy to grow and good to bloom. You know, you get into some salvias that are beautiful, but don't start blooming until late August. Gets to be a bit frustrating. These things, you just can't stop them from blooming. Really outstanding.
Paula would like to know if you sell fern leaf peonies.
If I sell fern leaf peonies, no, I do not. I have one tiny little fern leaf peony in the garden. They really don't like our garden, unfortunately. Regular tree peonies do fine for us. The fern leaf peony really ekes out a meager existence in our garden. We need to get them in a spot with richer soil, I think, for them to do well. Watch around $50. You can find a fern leaf peony for $100. So don't necessarily jump at the first one you see. Look around. There are some small growers out there now. With the internet, it's easy to set yourself up as a little nursery and sell plants online for mail order or pickup. And look at some of those. You might find yourself a fern leaf peony root. They are around.
Mary Jo would like to know what's growing behind you.
What is growing behind me?
Sad, pathetic.
Well, listen, let's do this. Let's turn it this way. This is my eucalyptus baby that I grew from seed. He's about 5 or 6 years old now. He had a bit of dieback, so I'm just going to chop those branches off. But the neat thing about them is that they like to resprout from the stems, so I can cut this back really heavily. It needs a new pot. It's very root bound, but even though it's got a little bit of work to be done on it, it's always a great specimen for the garden.
Your koala enjoys it.
Hey, you might get a koala, who knows? They like the eucalyptus. I thought we had a... Look at I covered in dirt now. Anyways, don't worry about that. All right. Last little group I'm going to talk about today. Tons and tons. I started out always being shown the unusual and what's different, you know, so I always got caught up in that. Now I've been circling back over and over to things like, well, I don't know, dahlias, for example, is a good example. I mean, they're so popular now, and I'm just in love with them. Didn't bother growing them years ago, and now I'm getting all interested in things like petunias. So, you know, who knows, right? You always, the taste change, something catches your eye. There are lots of really cool petunias out there right now. I'm just going to run through some of these guys. The splashy ones, I don't know if you like them or you hate them. This is Splash Dance Bolero Blue, the dark violet with the white specks. Probably, I don't mind this one. I will say. The pink ones and the magenta ones with the white spots to me are just terrible. But I don't mind Bolero Blue, actually, because it has a nice little speckling of those white spots. Makes a nice sort of reasonably mounded, slightly trailing habit, as all petunias do. The other group of petunias that I get caught up in, and I've been trying a lot of them over the last few years, are the Crazy Tunia series. And I think the Crazy Tunia series got named that because the breeders didn't know what other group to put them in. So they just called the group Crazy Tunias. Things that were kind of one-offs, a little bit different, didn't fit in their other categories. But there's some good plants in there. Black Mamba. There are a few different black petunias around. I think Black Mamba is just absolutely outstanding. It really is black. It's about the blackest one I've ever seen. That's Crazy Tunia Black Mamba. And then I thought this year I'd pair it up with Crazy Tunia Black and White, with just the black veins, a bit of deep purple shading. Really outstanding. And look at how young this plant is, and look at how many flowers are on that. That has got 4 flowers on it, 5, 6, 7, maybe 4 or 5 more buds to come on a very small plant still. Just amazing flower power from this one. So I'm really looking forward to trying that one. I haven't grown this one before. But that's the way we... Beautiful. I just threw one because there just happened to be one in flower. The Supertunia Vistas from Proven Winners. Probably the best petunias on them. There was originally 3 colors. Now there's a 4th. This is Supertunia Vista Fuchsia. There is Bubblegum, which is one of Proven Winner pink. Then there's Silverberry, which is a white with pink veining, much like black and white. These are really... Supertunia is the right name for these things, because the Vista series are huge plants. They can get up to 2 feet tall, 3 to 4 feet across if you let them, and keep them growing well. Absolutely covered with flowers all season long, and they produce flowers so quickly that you don't even need to deadhead them. So they're a great bedding petunia, great in big containers, big hanging baskets, things like that. The Supertunia Vistas are really outstanding, and I know Sophie's probably there saying, yes, they are my go-to petunia every year. Not everybody carries them, because Proven Winners, not everybody carries the Proven Winners. We carry, I think, 8 different Proven Winner varieties, because I just can't live without them. And the Vista petunias are one of those. Now, I was at a trial garden last summer. Landscape Ontario runs a trial garden, and they were showing off some of the other Proven Winner varieties, and I came across this guy. This is one of the Supertunia Minis. This is Supertunia Mini Vista Midnight. So Supertunia Mini Vista Midnight. Full-size flower. This Supertunia flower, this will get probably twice as big as they get growing. This Midnight was just an absolute fantastic plant. 6-inch tall carpets and just smothered in flowers. The other Supertunia Mini Vistas were okay, but this one stood out, and I was really, really impressed. Now, the other group that I just stumbled across in a garden center a couple of years ago and was blown away by was the Supercal petunias, or Petchoas, actually. Petchoa, Petchoa. What these are a cross between petunias and calabracoas. Popular plants these days for baskets and containers and things like that. Small, but when you take them and cross them with petunias, which are closely related, one thing that it does is it brings colors into petunias that we didn't have before in petunias. One's like sunset orange, but that's just because I grow these very cold. I'll talk about that in a second. This will be a warm sunset orange all summer long. French vanilla, that wonderful color with purple veining, and Bordeaux, which is a warm, right in the middle of normal plants in a garden center. I picked one of each up and brought them home, threw them in containers. It was like mid-July, I think, and I was just blown away by their performance. Really, really outstanding. Mounding, tight, but not so tight that you plant a 4-inch pot and they stay in the 4-inch pot size. They trailed slightly, but were self-cleaning. They didn't have to do anything to them all season long, and they're just great plants for the full sun. So watch for those. Those are the Supercals, or Petchoas, a Petunia Calabracoa cross. Now, I was just going to mention, when I say we grow these hard, we grow our petunias really, really cool. So these are actually all growing in an unheated greenhouse right now. It's going down to, well, it could go down to -1 down in there. It's been holding a couple of degrees, maybe 1 degree or 2 degrees above the outside temperature. So we get temperatures of 2 and 3 and 4 degrees at night. It keeps them compact. You know, if we grew these petunias in the greenhouse, they'd be all over themselves, long and spindly and really tough to handle. So we grow them really hard by keeping them very, very cool at night. And we do that with a few other things. Verbena bonariensis, they're all out there. Nicotianas, they're all out there. All with our lettuce grown really, really cool with no extra heat at this time of the year. So they stay very compact. Once you put them outside and the heat hits, bam, they take off. But boy, this gives them lots of growing tips, and it makes them hardy right when you take them. You don't have to harden them off, which is kind of nice. But for us, keeps them nice and compact.
Sophie says
Any
that
questions?
Bolero.
Yeah, Bolero Splash Dance, Bolero Blue.
Bolero Blue looks fantastic with alyssum in a pot.
Well, it would. Anything white that picks up those little flecks of white, you know, you could do alyssum. It might even work with that. Maybe too overpowering, but anything that picks up that little fleck of white, the little euphorbias, alyssums, things like that with a small white flower would look tremendous with those. Yeah, I think it's a nice one. It's not generally my style, but I like it.
And Joe
Cook,
Cook,
other questions?
Joe Cook from Blossom Hill Nursery says that they have double fern leaf peonies for sale, $75 that they dig in the fall.
There you go. If you want a peony, you get them from the best.
And Bonnie would like to know if you have any open house days for the public to buy or see your plants here at the nursery.
Good question. You must have been talking to my mother this morning, just because to mention it. Yes, we will. Coming up on Mother's Day weekend, we're going to be open the Thursday, Friday, Saturday of the Mother's Day weekend. I had thought I was going to be open this first weekend of May, but the TBG's having their sale. But also, we're having a road closure just south of us on Brock Road, so it's going to make it very difficult for people to get here. And because it's so cool, we're going to push back a little bit. So watch the website. We'll get the dates up there tonight. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of the Mother's Day weekend from 10 till 2 on the weekdays, 10 till 3 on the Saturday. So as soon as we get off the radio, we'll be open till 3 o'clock on Saturday of the Mother's Day weekend. And then the following weekend, which is the long weekend, we'll be open again Thursday, Friday, Saturday of that weekend. And then probably a couple of other days smattered around in there. Watch the website. We'll give you full details of the open days. Laura's giving me a prompt here.
Are you taking appointments if people can't make it?
If you can't make it those days, yeah. I mean, we could. You can always message me. I am here. I am around most days in the morning. If you needed to come on a day when we're not open, you can send me a message and maybe we can connect and you can come. And other than that, we got a couple of trips still on the go. We're getting things booked. There is still like Hampton Court Flower Show in England in late June, early July, and Ireland and Southern Scotland in August. This afternoon, I will be at the Toronto Botanical Garden speaking to the Greater Toronto Bulb Society, 1:30 this afternoon at the TBG. There's also the Geranium Society's having a plant sale down there today with a few vendors, so it's a good day to go to the TBG. Saturday mornings, Let's Get Growing radio show, 1580 CKDO. Listen live on your computer if you don't get the station. And as always, we'll be back next week on Let's Get Growing Facebook Live on Sundays. And I think we got one more question maybe tucked in here.
For people who have placed a pre-order with you, do you deliver or are they pickup only?
Pre-orders are pickup only. If there's a reason you can't get up here to pick up, let me know. Send me an email, and we'll try to get things sorted out for you. We don't have plat runs anymore, unfortunately. So our custom delivery service that a lot of our small growers used is no longer. So If we need to make an arrangement to meet somewhere or something, we can probably figure that out. So let me know. Our pickup orders that if people have placed orders already should be ready that first couple of days there that we're open. So you can come those days to pick up your orders. And some things are running out. Some things are in short supply. See what we've got listed. If you see something you like, even if it's one plant that you have to have, place an order for it. We'll set it aside for you. Any more questions? All right, we'll wrap it up. Enjoy the garden.